Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. All right, today I want to talk about the NBA playoffs because last night I saw two special games, very entertaining. I was glued. My eyes were literally glued. I could not take them off the screen. I don't think I blinked within a 5-hour span because I was so juiced up to watch those phenomenal teams play. Boston and Miami, that lived up to the hype without a doubt. It goes into overtime. Jayson Tatum, holy hell, is this kid just so much fun to watch. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it hurts because every time you see him dribble a basketball, all you can see is Markelle Fultz's face. All you can see is Markelle Fultz in a Sixers uniform doing a spinorama and getting blocked. Oh! But when it comes from a basketball fan standpoint, I can separate the two. I don't know if many can do that, but there comes a point where I don't really care about the Boston Celtics anymore. I can put it away and just enjoy. The only team I really can't do that for is the Dallas Cowboys. I never, ever want to see them succeed. Not that I want the Boston Celtics to succeed. I clearly don't want them to win. But when I sit down and go, okay, I want to watch basketball from an entertainment standpoint, I can really do that. And last night, with both games, really, I was on another level of enjoyment. Eating my popcorn, drinking a nice cold one, thinking, wow, did I miss this? Did I miss NBA playoffs during quarantine? Because we were leading ourselves right into the NBA playoffs, and then boom, the world shut down. Last night, I really hope you didn't miss it. Because if you did, shame on you. Jimmy Butler late. Did he really turn it on? Now, I took a prop bet. on DraftKings Sportsbook, Jimmy Butler over 20.5 points. And early in the game, he was facilitating. He was looking for his teammates. He wasn't being aggressive. He didn't have a lot of field goal attempts. And I'm screaming, yo, Jimmy, I took you. I took you over 20.5. Why don't you do something, dude? And then he ended up going off late, getting some points, making some big shots. The dude ends up with 20. Now, in what world do they land a half a point on the under? How do they do this? How do they constantly get to that number? Damn it. I needed one more point. One more point, Jimmy. You couldn't have hit one more field goal or one more free throw. But I miss Jimmy Butler. Oh, without a doubt do I miss Jimmy Butler. That attitude, that swagger. He has it. He has that mentality that you need. But I always go back to this. Always. How old is he? Oh, he's 30. Huh. I think there's a reason why he's doing this at his age. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. But Jimmy Butler, awesome. How about this? Last attempt in overtime, you have Bam meeting Tatum at the rim. When I saw Tatum at the top of the key, dribble to his right, and go for the big one-handed dunk, I thought he had it. For a split second, I thought he really did have the monster jam. Here comes Bam. I don't know how his wrist didn't break. I don't know how his whole arm didn't break. The way that he was cocked back and rejected him. Holy hell. I mean, I jumped out of my seat. What? That's arguably one of the best blocks in playoff history. The one that comes to mind over that is obviously LeBron James in the Golden State Warriors series, which definitely takes the top. But if the Miami Heat go on to win the championship, that play is going to be intensified and is going to be the play. Unless, of course, there's a Game 7 buzzer beater by Jimmy Butler or Tyler Hero or somebody else that would overstep that. It's sort of like what Braden Holtby did in the playoffs for the Washington Capitals a few years ago. It was the save, where he dove with the stick across the crease and he made this epic save. And during the playoff run, that was it. Well, that block, that could be it. That could be the difference. Being up 1-0 and being down 0-1, big time difference when it comes to the confidence. And I thought the Celtics down the stretch in regulation, they were going to be able to do it. I thought that they were the better team. They went on that big run, but they allowed Miami Heat to come back into the game. But, they started out fourth quarter strong. They started putting the Miami Heat away, but they did not finish the door. They did not finish the job. They left the door open. Kemba Walker, I expect more out of him. 19 field goal attempts for his 19 points. Ain't going to cut it. I mentioned Tyler Hero's name. Here he is. Euro stepping in contact, going up with it. Beautiful kiss off the glass. Taking big shots late. Whew. It's a fun team. Now, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and with over 20 years of experience in the industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They will make sure that you receive all the state and federal incentives for switching to solar. There is no risk and no need for investment. With the solar energy system, you can even increase the value of your home by an average of 4.1%. So make sure you check out their information, their website, phone number. It's in the description. Marcus Smart, I'll tell you what, this dude is a dog. I love everything about Marcus Smart. The way he plays, the attitude, it is me at LA Fitness. You want to know what Broads is like in pickup basketball? It's pretty damn simple. It's Marcus Smart. Now, I don't know if I can add the type of offensive production that Marcus Smart has been able to add, but defensively, intensity-wise, and that energy boost guy, yeah, I'm Marcus Smart. I'll tell you what, though, his offense has been incredible. He finished with 6 threes. He shot 6 of 13 from 3, but he was making big-time threes, and he has throughout this playoff run. He has been the guy that was stretching the floor. It's almost ridiculous. Marcus Smart is now popping threes left and right with confidence. What world is this? What year is this? But you need those type of players. You need that dude who can be such a pest defensively. Such a pest. I wouldn't want to be going up against Marcus Smart, Pat Beverly, players of that nature. They're assholes. It's that simple. They're assholes. They're tough. They're hard-nosed. They will get in your face. They will piss you off. But it didn't piss off this Miami Heat squad. See, if I'm the Boston Celtics, I think I look at that game, I assess that game and go, I let that one slip. To me, the Celtics were in position to win that basketball game. They did not knock it out of the park when they needed to. Now, I do think that maybe, as much as I praise Jayson Tatum, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal basketball player, he already is, but I mean phenomenal, there were times where he forced it. There were times where he was looking for a certain shot. At the end of regulation, for example, they got the free throw because of the foul before the ball inbounded, which was an awful play by Derek Jones. They cashed in the free throw. Now it's a tied game. Here he is at the top just trying to force a three, and he took one. It came up short. A lot of forced threes. I thought with certain possessions later in the basketball game that maybe they could have done better than just Tatum isolation pop for 3. At the end of the day, though, isn't that what basketball is in 2020? Get your player, your best player, the ball in his hands, let him get isolation, and from there, see if it works or see if it doesn't work. It's not breaking news. That's normally how it goes. But I would like to see maybe more out of Tatum in those situations. I know him and Kobe, they were getting super close, and he wants that Mamba mentality, and I think he does have that mentality, but he did have some sloppy-looking possessions at the same time that he will learn from. I was thinking, as soon as that play happened, as soon as the play with Bam occurred, where he cocked it back and saw the dunk, I think that's one of those plays that will haunt Tatum all offseason long, if that's the difference in them winning the series or not. Tatum's the type of dude that seems wired where he will play that every single morning. He will let that eat him alive, disgust him, and fuel him to the point where he will come back so strong next season that I'm even more worried because that play happened. That play is almost a blessing in disguise, I feel, for Boston Celtics fans and for Jayson Tatum because he got denied, and it was ugly. And it was an embarrassing play to an extent. Now, I think that it will be something that he loops, that he always wonders about, that he always plays in his mind when he's in the gym in the offseason. And I'm not writing off the Boston Celtics by any means because that play happened. I'm just claiming if they do lose this series, and when you are a player, when you are an athlete, and you digest all of the information that just happened, and you go back and you watch film and you think about, okay, what I could have done differently, when he's in the gym in the offseason, he's going to be working on his moves, just picturing Bam and picturing that play. It's going to be something that he feasts on to only get better as a player, and that's scary to think about the growth that Jayson Tatum is going to have throughout his career. He's 22 years old? How about the clip, though, when they showed his son? He's all about his son, right? The shoes, and he's always showing clips of FaceTiming his son and all of that, which is awesome. But his son was there because they're allowing people in the bubble. And he's watching on an iPad or on some sort of visual screen something else. He's not even watching his father in an Eastern Conference final. Of course, he's young, doesn't really know what's going on, but it's just so funny that here he is sideline in the bubble watching his father destroy the Heat and score a ton of points at that time in the Eastern Conference final, and he's digging into his iPad, probably playing Angry Birds or something. Oh, man. But that wasn't the only incredible game that occurred. By the way, Dragic, not to undersell him, 29 points, close to a 30-point performance. He has that shot. He has that release. Making threes. Smart player. Just a smart basketball player. Getting great production from the guys that they really needed production from in that basketball game. It really was the Celtics game to win. And here comes the Heat, cracking away, hitting the three, getting the stop, hitting the three. Whew. That was a great basketball game. How about the second game? Blowout by Denver. Now, I took Denver on the money line. I also took Miami Heat on the money line. But there was more value in the Nuggets game because they were so big underdogs. I think I got them around 265 or so. Maybe I'll check right now exactly what the money line bet was. But I took the Miami Heat money line. So I went 1 for 2 last night in my bets. I lost the Jimmy Butler bet by a half a point, which sucks. So close to going 3-0. I hit on Miami Heat winning money line, and I also hit on the Denver Nuggets. Hold on a second. Why can't I log into my DraftKings Sportsbook? What? What's going on here, fellas? What? My account is locked. It better not be. Wrong password. I'll do this later. Anyway. Ugly performance for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard shot 6 of 22 and he was minus 21. Paul George shot 4 of 16 and was minus 20. And I'm sure by now everyone has seen Dame Lillard and all of the Portland Trail Blazers going off on Twitter. And I think they should. Because what they did, Pat Beverly, Paul George, what they did to Dame Lillard was straight up disrespectful, in my opinion. Ripping him apart, chirping him, because they thought that they were going to go all the way to the NBA Finals. They thought they were going to go to the Western Conference Finals. They got embarrassed. That was a pathetic effort by that entire team. And Doc Rivers, everyone wants to go through his history, look at the leads that he blew. This was a 3-1 series lead for the Clippers that they let slip. You win if your stars come up to play. You win if your superstars play well. Kawhi Leonard was awful. Paul George was in the corner taking 3-pointers that hit the side of the backboard. You cannot win. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care if it's Greg Popovich, Eric Spoelstra, you name it. If your players are out there missing open shots and being absolutely pathetic, you will not succeed. You won't do it. You will not do it. Kawhi Leonard was so bad. So bad. While Jamal Murray's out there dropping 40 points, hitting fadeaway 3-pointers from around the elbow spot at the end of the game. And Jokic is giving you a dominating performance, going, what was his finishing stat line? 16, 22, and 13? Now, it's funny I bring up Jokic because a discussion Mike Gill and I had on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN yesterday, Jokic and Embiid, right? That's a conversation that's always brought up. Raw, natural talent, I give it to Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid is the better player, natural talent-wise. IQ, savvy player, fits better for this era of basketball. It's Jokic. It's Jokic, and you're seeing it on display. They were down 3-1 in 2 series, and they come back and win Game 7. And this wasn't even close. This wasn't even close. 20-point game after a big dunk late. You see the guys flexing underneath the basket. A 20-point blowout. 20-point blowout. Wow. Now, Paul George, he's got some explaining to do. What the hell was that? What the hell was this entire playoff run? He has been so bad. He has been trash. Awful. Whose fault is that? Is that Doc Rivers' fault? Or is that Paul George's fault? Is he just not good enough? What happened? We know the injury happened, but I can't blame his poor play on the injury that happened a handful of seasons ago. He just doesn't have it. There's something about those playoff moments that he is not there for. He had it in Indiana. He had it with those Indiana teams. But since then, awful. And same with Kawhi. You need Kawhi to be a better player than minus 21 in a Game 7 playoff game. If you had that version of Kawhi Leonard against the Philadelphia 76ers when he was on Toronto, the Sixers win by double digits. He could not create any sort of offense. He could not get any sort of rhythm going offensively. Well, you had the Nuggets picking them apart. Do I think the Lakers handle business? Probably. Until LeBron doesn't win. That's where I'm at. It's sort of like the New England Patriots. When the Patriots continue to win their division so many years, even with Tom Brady not being there anymore, Bill Belichick still is, Cam Newton is there. I'm not going to say the Patriots don't win the division until I don't see them win the division. And that's where I am with LeBron. Until I see him not make it. And I know last year the injury happened, and it's not like he's been on that crazy stretch that he's been on where he made the finals year after year after year after year after year after year after year. But it's LeBron James. 35 years old, facilitating as a point guard. It's incredible. But the Nuggets are interesting if you wanted to tie that to the 76ers. 25-year Jokic, 22-year-old Jamal Murray, and there's no denying that it's better than what you've seen out of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. That's just reality. And there's not much to say about it other than those two seem to figure it out. But different playing styles. Jokic doesn't play the same way as Joel Embiid. He plays more of a 2020 style version of the great big man. And that's why when the people scream, put Joel in the post, put him in the post, make him dominate. It doesn't really work that way. Jokic runs the offense through the top of the key. I'm not saying Jokic doesn't go in the low post. Of course he goes in the post and he turns around and does his floater and he knocks down shots with his back to the basket. I'm not saying he doesn't, but his style is more 2020 than Joel Embiid's is. And everyone's so fascinated and screaming with Joel needing to get in the low block. Twos. You don't win games with twos anymore. So you got to find a way to adapt his playing style like Jokic does. Jokic is an all-around phenomenal player. And I'm not claiming that Jokic only shoots three-pointers. That's not my point. But if you watch the way that he plays the game and you watch the way that Joel Embiid plays the game, it's totally different. From basketball IQ to the physicality side of things, to the facilitating style as well. When Joel gets doubled in the post, it turns into a turnover, and it gets ugly, and it gets sloppy. Jokic operates at the top of the key with Jamal Murray. It's mesmerizing, but so is Jamal Murray, because this dude has really turned into something. I thought he was going to be all right. I thought he was going to be a nice player. 40 points? A 40-burger? The fadeaway 3 got me. The fadeaway 3 at the end, I just slipped underneath my, you know the meme of I'm dead? Or the gif of like I'm dead and the woman slides off of her bed? That's how I felt sliding off of my couch. Like, I'm dead. He just did that. He just hit the dagger. He just made the Clippers' deathbed. While you go up to the owner of the Clippers and he's sitting there with his mask on, eyes wide open, thinking, did that really just happen? Yeah, it did happen. I can't wait for Game 2 of this Heat Celtics. I can't wait for Game 1 of this Western Conference Finals. This is where it juices up a bit. This is where it intensifies a bit more. I like to get into the NBA Finals and do post-game podcasts for the NBA Finals, but sometimes I start it early with the conference finals as well. And now it's starting to get down to, yeah, here we go. It's just weird because normally it's the only thing on. That's what we watch at that time of the year. Baseball's just beginning, and it's only that with some NHL sprinkled in. Now it's going up against football. And you would think the NBA is going to be smart enough to try and make sure that that doesn't happen. I know for a fact they didn't put any Monday games on because, well, you had the 2 Monday night football games. But I want to see right here what the NBA schedule looks like with, you do have a Sunday 7:30 game, which is Lakers-Nuggets, which would be going up against Monday or Sunday night football, which is interesting. Saturday night, 8:30, Celtics Heat. Now college football is starting to return. They do have a Monday night game between the Heat and the Celtics. I guess there's really no way to get around it. Look, yeah, at this point, it's a game on every day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. So they skip a Tuesday in there. Oh, that's because the one series would have been over by then. So, yeah, I guess there really is no way of getting around it if they're trying to finish their season at a certain point. It's just interesting to see how it's going to play out against the NFL. But I'm starting to intensify my NBA playoff watch now that it's getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, because this is where, those storylines really pop. Those storylines really happen. Now, Doc Rivers, speaking of storylines, does he get fired? Good chance. Would the Sixers be interested? I don't know. I think he's a name that pops when it comes to his name, Doc Rivers. I'm also hearing D'Antoni. D'Antoni with this roster? I don't like it. I don't really like much that I've heard to this point. I'd rather go maybe down the road of Ty Lue and Donovan over a D'Antoni. What have you seen out of the Houston Rockets that makes you jump for joy? And with Doc Rivers, a big name, and people classify him as a great coach in this league. He had the championship with the Boston Celtics, but, what has he done since then? And this is the time where he had talent in Kawhi and Paul George, but look, when your stars don't play well, you don't win. And it looks bad on you as the coach. When the stars play well, you look great as a coach. It's not rocket science. But I wonder if he's now canned out of the Clippers. A lot of these players, though, Kawhi, Paul George, they wanted to play for him. They went to the Clippers because they knew Doc Rivers was there. Very underwhelming.